Few questions from within the room. Nolan, whenever you're ready, go ahead.
Solid at the moment. Hello. Y'all see the Snickers? I'm about to eat it.
AJ, congrats on the win, man. I mean, that was pretty incredible. I'm not sure a lot of us have really seen something like that. Is that something that you practiced specifically coming into this fight, that submission?
I don't know, honestly. It was just like, yeah, I guess I pulled it off a lot. I can't give up my game, but I got a lot of things that I work on that I don't really get to expose in the cage. So, man, front headlocks that's bread and butter for me. So that's just part of my series, I would suppose, you know. Something I've been doing since I was a kid, wrestling front headlocks and so forth. I said I don't mind getting taken down. I wasn't even going to try to defend the takedown. So once he hit it, you know, all right, adjust, and let's figure out where we're going to move from there.
A lot of people are saying that might be the submission of the year when all's said and done. Do you feel like that's an accurate accolade?
Why not, man? I thought I was going to get it last year with that crazy armbar triangle I fell into, but nah. So far, yeah. I appreciate all the support. If, you know, they want to add accolades and keep building that plateau of greatness for me, man, that's what I'm grateful for. You know what I mean? It's the stats for me. It's being the best of the best, you know. Kobe had how many threes, how many this, you know what I mean? So for me, it's the stats. How many finishes, how many are in the first round? I think that's 12 finishes, not 10 in the first round now. So for me, it's all stats, man. I'm all about the stats, and I'm gonna keep finishing. You go back, check interviews at the beginning of the tournament. I said I'm going 4 for 4, all finishes.
Yeah, and that's another thing is how amazing this feat is. That was a former champion, you know. That wasn't just some guy. So were you surprised? Did you surprise yourself at how quickly you took him out of there?
Nah, once I had the underhook, I was like, oh, I got it. You know what I mean? Like I had it deep. You know, at first, his game plan kind of threw me off. I knew once he got on top, he went inside control. So he was looking for the elbows. And that's why I was trying to move with him a little bit. And then I wanted him to open up, go into his normal position, a bad position. Head on the side is a bad position with somebody that knows jiu-jitsu. So for me, you know, I just made him uncomfortable a little bit, couple elbows, couple punches, soften him up. And he did what he normally does, you know. So I found an opening like I said I was going to do.
We talked about this a little bit before the fight, but you don't know who you're fighting from the other side of the bracket yet, but it's going to be one of two guys, Emmanuel Sanchez or Patricio.
I don't give a fuck.
You don't care either one?
Nah, bro. I'm ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is new era, new wave coming for them all.
The timeline for that, it sounds like when I talk to Scott Coker, it sounds like the finals probably won't come to at least April. Is that difficult for you to have to sit out for that long again?
Fuck, another birthday cutting weight. Fruitcake it is. I don't know, man. It's $1 million. I get to go home, hang out with my family, my little brother, and I'm not hurt. You know what I mean? No injuries. So we'll see. You know, Scott's done a great job building me. He's worked with my father by his side, and they've done a great job as a team. You know, they're building a superstar, and they now see it. You know, at first, I wasn't ready, you know. I was going through a lot of life issues, problems, and just felt like I wasn't getting the recognition I deserve while other people are getting blown the hell up, you know what I mean? So once I just learned to let things take their course, you know what I mean, leave it in God's hand, everything's just continue to plateau and get better and better and better. So that's just my main focus. Go back in the gym, get better mentally, physically, and continue to get better inside and outside of the cage.
Last one for me. Do you feel like you're getting that recognition finally?
Yeah. McKees are legendary. This is the key right here. This is the key to the game. And I got it on lock. 45, 55. Might jump up to 170 at the end of my career. But we'll see, man. Honestly, I'm ready for it. It doesn't matter who they put in front of me. I'm ready. You know what I mean?
Thanks, man.
Anytime.
All right, we'll take a few more from the media joining us virtually tonight. Jay?
Congrats on the win, AJ. Really impressive tonight. Just a couple from me. Real quick, I know you said you don't care who you face in the finale. Who do you think you'll face in the finale? Who do you see winning that fight?
So the first fight, if I'm going off the first fight, I'm big on tape. I'm big on fighters and watching because not a lot of guys evolve. You know what I mean? So Emmanuel Sanchez puts out a lot of repetition, but like I said, he's a pillow puncher. He ain't got no power. So if Patricio touches his chin, it's going to be a problem. But his volume can outdo Patricio, and that's what we saw the first fight between them. That volume was hard for him to handle. Now, so if Patricio steps in front of me, he's going to have that volume with power. That's a nightmare. If Emmanuel Sanchez steps in front of me, I've already psychologically destroyed that man. We were supposed to fight. He's ran from me. I'm waiting for him to get in the cage with me. You know what I mean? He's already ducked me once. Then he ducked the other side of the tournament. I'm not tripping. You know what I mean? It's between these guys. They got to battle it out now. And whatever their course is, then when they step in my course, that's when it comes to a halt and an end.
And just one more from me. I mean, Aaron Pico recently left Team Body Shop. He's moved down to New Mexico doing the Jackson Wink thing. And you've been pretty adamant that you weren't going to fight him. It looks like you could have the title just as he's kind of really coming into his own and putting on a good streak and having an argument for a shot, perhaps. Are you still adamant that you're not going to throw down with him?
Like I said, we both need 100 mil and we'll talk about it. And I know y'all ain't coughing up bread like that in MMA, so loyalty is royalty. Even though he left, man, that's still my boy. You know what I mean? It's a childhood friend. Fuck all the entertainment. That's my boy. You know what I mean? It's business. Yeah, understood. You know, there was things personally that I know that were going on. I'm not going to expose his life, you know what I mean, and the reasons why he left, but it is what it is. You know, it's still my boy. He knows what it is.
Santiago.
Hi, AJ. Greetings from Amsterdam and congratulations on a beautiful performance. That was spectacular. What an amazing main card for Team Body Shop. First, it was Joey Davis with a dominant performance, and then you score a beautiful first-round submission. How proud do you think your father is after such an amazing night?
He's always proud, man. Win or lose, you know what I mean? He knows I'm going to go in there and give it my all. He knows Joey's going to do the same. He knows that's what he's just raised us on. You know what I mean? That's what we're built off of. Pain is your friend. It lets you know you're still alive. Like, those are some deep fucked up words, but if you think about it for the game we're in, that's reality, man. So like Muhammad Ali once said something. He said when he does sit-ups, he doesn't begin counting until the pain starts. Once he feels pain, that's when he begins to count, because that's when the real hard work comes in. That's when the true you shows up, you know, and that's when I show up and show out.
That's deep, man. And then last thing for me, AJ, that Snickers looks so tasty. What have Snickers done for you in your career? Because you are rocking that sponsor for a very long time now, right?
I'm not sponsored by him, but man, I'm like I said, I'm the new age, the new wave era. I'm looking to do big things. Snickers, Nike, undefeated. It don't matter. You know what I mean? Undefeated's LA brand. We gonna get that. I've already spoke with the owner. We just gotta set up a strategic plan and how to do things. You know, Snickers. They're all NFL. It's pro football. I'll cross them over. They see it. They like it. And if they don't, they will. Because guess what? I'm satisfying, and so is Snickers.
Keith Schillen.
Hey, AJ, it's Keith Schillen from Sure Dog. So everyone's going crazy right now on Twitter. You're blowing up. That said, it wasn't that long ago. You were 22, 23. You had this slow journey up the ranks, and people were very critical of that, saying, oh, he's padding record, he's beating cans. What do you think, you know, these moments where you're running through stars like Darrion Caldwell, what do you think these moments talk about that slow journey and the progress you went up the ranks?
All my fans, man, the people that have held it down since day one, I thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all the truest. Like, y'all are the reason why I'm here. And to all y'all haters that were haters, all I got to say is I told your ass so. Go hit that damn follow button now if you don't fucking follow me, you hater. Well, I still appreciate your hate and support.
AJ, I think you're going to get a whole bunch of followers, which actually is a perfect lead into my next question. A couple of weeks ago, I was standing at Mohegan Sun. I was talking to a PR guy for Bellator. I'm not going to mention his name, but we were talking about, you know, in MMA, you need to build stars, and who could be the next guy to build stars. You mentioned Kobe Bryant. You mentioned Snickers. You know, you think about some of the people in MMA, Conor McGregor, Ronda Rousey. Nobody in Bellator has reached that stardom. And I say, like, AJ could be that guy. Do you think this performance is like that springboard where, like, everybody's going crazy right now about you?
Hopefully, man. I put a lot of hard work into this, you know. I dropped out of college. I just knew my calling. I knew what I wanted to do. And, man, my dad's literally put everything into me. He put his life on halt, completely on hold, to invest and put all his time into me. So I get why he was so pissed off at me early on in my career, just acting dumb, smoking weed, just being a young, dumb kid. You know what I mean? when you have the potential that I have to be as great as that I am, and I'm continuing to get better at, I'm starting to see things in myself and fix and change things. So that's key, man. There's always a lesson to learn. Even in this fight, I'm going to go home and I'm going to find a lesson in this fight to learn from it. You know what I mean? And that's how you continue to be better. Win or lose, there's always a lesson, and that's key.
All right, we'll take one or two more here. Dunna.
Hey, AJ, congratulations on just an incredible performance. A lot of people asking on Twitter, what do you call this submission?
I don't know. What would you call my last submission? We'll just start calling them the Mercs, because the mercenary be murking people with them.
The great Luke Thomas called it the McKeeatine.
McKeeatine, I like that. Hey, shout out to whoever came up with that. The McKeeatine.
Talk to me about Darrion Caldwell as an opponent. I mean, you weren't in there for a great amount of time with him, but he is something of a legend in Bellator, something of one of the great Bellator fighters. A word on his performance.
Man, he's a great champ, you know. I'd love to train with him. I'd love to get him to come over and evolve, man. We're all about evolving, you know, as people, as a world, it's all about evolving. So he's a great champ, but like I've always said, this is my division. He's a great 35 champ. I think he can go be the 35 champ again. Low-key, he go beat up Archuleta right now, you know what I mean? First fight back. It is what it is. Nothing against Archuleta. I think the wrestling is superior. Caldwell has wrestling that's superior, but I have the mix of all martial arts, and that's what this sport is about.
Sean.
Congratulations on the win, AJ. You know, when we last talked at Bellator 221, that was a long time in Chicago. You know, 3 straight big finishes. Like, you know, talk about, you know, not only putting the work and the effort in, but, you know, how much would it mean to you to make an ESPN top play? We've seen, you know, other promotions, not ones that are not UFC, get the ESPN top play. So how would you like to make that list tonight?
Man, I love it. That'd be awesome. That's fuck, those are dreams, dude. Those are things like as a kid that I used to watch, as like watching WWE, watching Michael Vick and all these guys doing crazy ass plays and just making big moves. Oh shit, he's on ESPN. Like, oh, that dude's official. That's a GOAT. He's the truth. You know what I mean? So it's a blessing, man, just to be able to see my hard work paying off and get the recognition, not just from regular people, but from high-end sport officials. You know what I mean?
Final question here, Nolan.
Me. Is this?
I can hear you. You good?
This one. While I was sitting over there, I was going through Twitter, and Patricio Pitbull just tweeted something about your fight. He said, guy that loves to get guillotined after controlling fights leaves his neck exposed after starting to gain control of the fight. Great fight IQ. And the other fool dared to say I chose the easiest bracket. Do you have any sort of response to that?
It wasn't a guillotine, stupid. It had nothing to do with his neck. It was a shoulder crank. You're supposed to be Brazilian. You don't know shit about jiu-jitsu, apparently. I can't wait to beat his ass, honestly, bro. This shit's long overdue. He takes it personal, but it's nothing personal. Like I've said, he's had a great career, but the new era is here. 45, 50-pound title. I want him back-to-back, period.
Thanks, man.
All right, thanks for the time, AJ. Congrats.
Thanks for having me.
Up next, we have Scott Coker. All right, we are now being joined by Scott Coker. Nolan?
Scott, you've been a promoter for a long time. Have you seen a submission like that before?
You know, I never have seen a submission like that. They call it, the new name is the McKee team. That's the first time for me. I mean, I've seen all different cranks in it, but it took me a second to figure it out. And I was talking to John McCarthy after. I said, John, did you see it coming? He said, I saw it coming. But I said, Josh Thompson, did you see it coming? He said, no, I didn't see it develop. So very slick move, man. Very, very slick move against a seasoned veteran that's, our former champ, been fighting for a long time. And hats off to McKee.
When we talked the other day, you talked about going into a community center in California where you first met AJ. Is it kind of crazy as a promoter to sit up there now where you are and have a guy like him as your finalist?
You know what? Something we're very proud of. I mean, you're right. AJ was a kid. I walked into a youth rec center in Orange County to see Rampage Jackson, actually. And AJ was there fighting the main event. His father was there. And AJ had a great win. He had a great submission, I think, that night and won by submission. And he was an amateur fighter at that point. And, we had a nice chat after. And I said, this guy's got something. He's got a little bit of swagger. Now he's got a lot of swagger, but he's been doing great. And it just goes back to, look, I think that's something we're very good at, better than anybody else, is star identification and star building. And now these kids are at the point where they can fight anybody. And now he's fighting for $1 million, against the winner of Sanchez Pitbull. So a lot riding on the line. And I know that everybody's going to ask me, and I might as well just bring it up. Time frame. Look, I want to get that other fight done end of January, and then maybe February, end of March. We'll try to get this fight on, to get the finals on.
Yep. In the co-main event, Jason Jackson kind of emerging as another contender that you have at the tippity top of your welterweight division. What did you think of his performance and win over Benson Henderson?
Yeah, I mean, he did what he had to do, and I think he had a dominant performance, in my opinion. And I always said I think Benson is going to have his hands full in this fight because you can see the size difference. The minute they stepped into the cage, I could see a difference in the size. And I said, he's going to fight an uphill battle now because, Benson's really a 155er, right? He took this fight almost as a favor for us because, Lorenz Larkin was supposed to fight. And he got injured. Something happened. He couldn't fight. Benson stepped in on 30-day notice to take this fight. So I know he likes fighting at 170, but I think we're going to have a conversation with him about staying at 55 because I think he's still a great fighter. I think he's tough. I think he still got some gas left in the tank. We just got to give him the right opportunity.
Yeah. So safe to say back to 155. Yeah.
That's my vote, right? 170 for him is too big, I feel, and everything's going to be an uphill battle for him. Not that 155 won't, but at least the cards are the same, and it's not stacked against him at that point.
Appreciate it.
Keith Schillen.
Hey, Scott, congratulations on an absolutely wonderful event tonight. My first question, similar to what I just asked AJ, you ran Strikeforce, you had Ronda Rousey come up the ranks. You probably saw some unbelievable star potential in her. She became probably bigger than the sport itself. Do you see that in AJ? And what do you have to do as a promoter to make him, grow as a star?
You know what? I'll tell you, I've been in this business a long time, and there's not any one formula to it. Either they have the swagger or they don't. Either they have that X factor or they don't. It doesn't mean they're not a great fighter. There's a lot of great fighters, but to be that, cultural icon that, let's say, for instance, Kimbo Slice, right? Here's a guy that had all those backyard fights, and people loved him, right? And he had that X factor. People wanted to be around this guy. AJ is the same way. People want to be around this guy. There's certain people that just people gravitate to. Ronda Rousey was one of the people that we had fighting in Strikeforce that people gravitate. But you know what? Again, going back to star identification, star builder. We have so many great young blue chip prospects in this league now, and we're starting to develop them and nurture them and see them grow. And I think that it takes time. I mean, look how long it took AJ, like 5 years to get to this point, right? Almost 6 years. So, to his advantage, he was, I think he was like 17 or 18 when we first started talking to him. And, we're going to be out there, keep looking for the new prospects and sign some free agents from time to time like we did with Corey Anderson. But as far as developing him from ground zero in Bellator to becoming a world-class level, AJ is the first one that I say that we had developed to that point. And now he's ready to fight anybody. And he's told you that himself. So based on his performance, you know, he deserves it, and he's fighting for $1 million against the winner of Pitbull Sanchez, which is going to be another great fight. And that's why I love these tournaments, because, you know, tournaments build stars, and tournaments really challenge yourself and test yourself. So hopefully we'll have a couple of dates for you guys here in the near future, and we'll let these guys get it on.
Scott, speaking of stars, you love signing legends, you love signing stars. A really big legend is in the headlines today. Anderson Silva was released from the UFC. He might retire, but he's also a free agent right now. Do you have any interest in bringing Anderson Silva into Bellator?
You know, that seems like to be a common question today that I've answered. But, you know, at the end of the day, look, I have a lot of respect for him. He's one of my favorite fighters of all time. He's, I think, one of the greatest fighters in the history of the sport. And, you know, I give my hats off to him, man. He had a great career. And he might continue to fight and, you know, continue to, you know, compete. But I really love our roster. I love the things that we're doing here. I love the direction of the company. And that's what we're going to stay focused on.
Giancarlo?
Hi, Scott. Great event tonight. You brought up there about the Grand Prix building stars, and you spoke in the past about wanting to do a women's Grand Prix. Is that still the plan? And just seeing of the star-making performance by AJ McKee, would you be opposed to doing more than one Grand Prix in a year?
I really like doing one Grand Prix at a time, you know. I mean, that's what I think should happen. I mean, it's like it kind of goes back to my roots when I was working for K1. They had a whole K1 tournament for the whole year, and then at the end they had a Grand Prix finals. And I think for a weight class, it deserves to have that, you know, that finale with one champion and one tournament final, and, you know, one big event. And that's really what we've been doing. So could they overlap? I'd really like to see them not overlap. But, you know, we do, getting back to the question about 125-pound female division, and also, you know, we've been talking about the 135-pound men's division that really it's just been growing, and the talent level is just, you know, off the charts now. So, you know, it could be one of those two divisions. We haven't really decided yet, but, you know, we'll probably figure that out sometime after Thanksgiving.
And also, like Benson Henderson moved up to 170. You notice the size difference there. Would you be open to a 165-pound division? Like, I know other promotions are opposed to that. Would you be open to it?
You know what? I tell you, it's not that I would not be opposed to it. My thing is, if we do it, I think all the organizations have to do it together. I think the commissions, everybody has to get on the same page. So you'd need a lot of people getting on the same page, because I think it really works the way it is right now. And that's kind of been, you know, and when I think about boxing, when I grew up, it was kind of like that as well. I mean, they had, you know, 145, they had they had like 132, then they had, you know, 142, and then 155. I mean, they didn't have as many weight classes as they do today. And I think it makes it a little bit, you know, complicated and hard to follow. So I think in boxing now they have every 3 or 4 pounds. It seems like a different weight class. But, you know, if we all got together as, let's say, a sport of MMA, and we all could get on the same page, because I really think that's the way it would need to be done.
Donna?
Hi, Scott. You're lucky you don't have to hand out performance of the night's bonus, right? Because there was not one bad fight on this card. I guess maybe Jaleel Willis, Mark Lemminger wasn't exactly Hagler Hearns, but otherwise every single fight tonight delivered.
Yeah, listen, I think from top to bottom we had some entertaining fights, and it just kind of led up to had a big crescendo at the end. And last week we had another great fight card, and the week before was great. I mean, I think we've been producing consistent big fights here at the Mohegan Sun, and I think CBS Sports is very happy with what we're doing here, and you know, people could watch the fights, and it's live and free, and we got the CBS Sports.com airing the prelims, as well as the Bellator YouTube channel leading into the CBS Sports network, you know, for the big fights, and it's working. So to me, I'm very happy with what we're doing here. I think the fight quality has been superb, outstanding. It's just been unbelievable. And I'm excited. I'm really excited about getting that next semifinals together quickly, putting that fight in the cage as soon as possible, and then having the finals and giving away that $1 million to the winner of the tournament.
I've asked you this question before, and I'm sure the answer hasn't changed a great deal. But this Cyborg and Katie Taylor fight the talk seemed to be heating up a small bit. Eddie Hearn has been saying your name a little bit. Obviously, Katie had an unbelievable performance last week in a historic night at Wembley Arena. Have you had any more discussions, any more reaching out from Eddie Hearn?
You know what? I haven't talked to him since the last time. We were talking about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and going back and forth. Listen, like I said, why does it always have to be the MMA fighter going to become a boxer? Why can't it be the other way around? That's one. But in saying that, if Cyborg really wants to fight her, and she wants to go into boxing and win a title, and she wants to fight Katie, listen, we'll step aside and we'll let her get it on, but that's going to be up to her. So there hasn't been any further discussions. I think that we'll probably pick it up with Cyborg sometime after Thanksgiving, and then we'll figure it out. But we're not going to be the person stopping that fight from happening.
We'll take a couple more. Jay.
Thanks very much, Scott. Great event tonight. Couple of quick ones from me. We spoke to Pitbull recently about his plans for the lightweight belt, and he basically said he'd have to check with the boss. That being you, have you had that conversation with him? Do you have a direction that you're leaning in? You know what?
Because he is in the tournament, it's we kind of had to we've had to hit the pause button a little bit because before COVID hit in March, this tournament should have already been over, and he should have been defending his lightweight belt by now, right? So that's unfortunate because it's just something beyond our control, and we just had a big moment of 8 months of really nothing to do with the tournament, and we just put it on pause. So when I think about what could have happened, we got this fight could have already happened, but as far as getting Pitbull in there defending his lightweight belt, I think the tournament should finish, and then we'll let him go. In the meantime, we're going to keep signing new fighters. We're going to keep getting some free agents involved when they're available, and we're going to keep building that 155-pound weight class. And we're going to get some guys to throw it down for Pitbull. I did get a message from his manager and said, that if his brother was in a title fight contention at some point in the fight or in the next several months as he's getting ready to compete again, the Pitbull would step aside at some point maybe, or he would consider it, because he's not going to want to fight his brother for the title. So if his brother is winning and looking good and getting ready for a title fight, I think the Pitbull brothers have a decision to make at that point.
And, does that change your thought process in terms of an interim title if the Featherweight Grand Prix maybe stretches on a little longer than planned? Maybe there's an injury. At what point do you consider that?
I'll tell you, I don't think so. I don't think right now at this point when you're talking about November and the fight could be here in late March, I don't think that it puts a pause in there and an interim title. I think that, let's just finish this tournament. Let's get it done. And then Pitbull will have a decision to make.
Last one, Santiago.
Hi, Scott. Greetings from Amsterdam and congratulations on a beautiful night of fights. A couple of quick ones for me. I heard you openly speak about wanting to come to Amsterdam and put a big fight here. What is it about Amsterdam that is so appealing to you?
I mean, when you think about the history of martial arts combat, right? Some of the greatest fighters, at least in the striking part, some of the greatest fighters, if not, I would say 80% of them were all Dutch. So the Dutch understand, the combat of martial arts, and I think they respect martial arts. And even our Viacom counterpart there, he loves kickboxing, he loves MMA, he trains himself, and he's a top executive at Viacom. And first time I had lunch with him, he had a black eye, and he told me he does Muay Thai at the gym, and he spars all the guys, and I mean it's just part of the culture there. Amsterdam has not had a MMA fight for a long time, and I think that we should be the one to do it. And I think we have the roster to bring there. I mean, I think we got Gegard's there, and we have a bunch of great fighters and talent support from Viacom there, and Viacom Netherlands and Benelux really support us heavily. So we would love to come there. And we've been trying. I mean, it's, we were actually making a lot of headway with the government there until COVID hit. So that kind of put a pin in it for a bit. But, at one point, who knows when, this will be finished as well as far as the COVID, and we'll be back up and running, and we'll be out traveling, and we will go to Amsterdam for sure.
And then last thing from me, Scott, Gegard Mousasi wants to defend his middleweight title next against John Salter, and he wants to do that in Europe. He would prefer Amsterdam, of course. Would you entertain that specific fight for Gegard against Salter, and would you send him to Europe for his next fight?
The opponent we haven't decided, but when I think about the location, really it depends. We're not opposed to it, but whether we fight here with no audience or you fight in Europe with no audience, it doesn't. There's really no difference in my opinion. So to me, Gegard traveling here is just the same as us going there, because it's actually harder for us to go there because we have travel restrictions by all these countries that hard to get in. At least the other way around, we can get Gegard to come here, and we can get our foreign fighters to come here. And so we have that relationship with the government to get these visas expedited for these foreign athletes. But, trying to go to Milan and Paris was quite challenging. Listen, my team did a great job. They got it done, but it wasn't easy. And Paris was another situation. We all had to have letters from the government, from the Ministry of Sport to invite us. And it's a whole process of additional red tape that we don't have when the fighters come here. So depends when, COVID is here or not here, when Gegard wants to fight again, that's going to be a factor.
All right. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Congrats on another great night of fights.